Hi, my name is Lisa Churchman, and this is my video presentation of my electronic portfolio for my class EDGR 697 Professional Assessment Seminar at Concordia University. It's been my pleasure to be a student of Concordia for the last 13 months, and I'm excited to be wrapping up my master's program in the next few weeks. My electronic portfolio is finished, and this is just a little bit to show you 3 competencies that I'm most proud of my electronic portfolio and the coursework that I completed through Concordia. The competencies were taken from the FAAT-CC document required by the state of Oregon, and it's something I've completed and I've turned into the state of Oregon and to the College of Education at Concordia University. The first competency I'd like to talk about today is number 1, to assess knowledge and skills of students in relation to long-term content goals and district standards, and determining the knowledge and skills each student needs to accomplish them. While taking EDGR 520 Curriculum Design and Assessment, I learned how to unwrap a standard. By unwrapping a standard, we focus on exactly what we want the student to learn and exactly on what we want the student to be able to do once they have mastered that content and that standard. When you unwrap it, you simply take the standard and you write it down and you circle the keywords within the standard that you want to focus on. Then you create assignments that will guide the student to master and to obtain skills based on those specific requirements in the standard. Once the assignments have been completed, then you create assessments that align with those assignments and also align with that standard, and then those assessments will show you if indeed your student has mastered that standard. This unwrapping process is pretty complicated, but it is a terrific skill, and I think it would be a great skill to share with other teachers in an in-service environment or during a collaboration time with content area teachers. I welcome the opportunity to do another unwrapping. It's not easy, and it's certainly not something that you can do overnight. It is something that takes probably 3 to 4 sessions to sit down and really do it well. But once it is done, then you have that tool to use with your students whenever that standard comes up. So I really appreciated the chance to be able to learn how to unwrap a standard and to meet that competency. The second competency that I'd like to talk about is competency number 2, to design instructional plans that incorporate knowledge of students' developmental levels, interests, abilities, and learning accomplishments, consistent with content goals and district standards. The artifact I included in my portfolio is a section of the final unit plan I created for EDGR 595, the Community of Learners. The section that I'm focusing on is designed to meet different levels of intelligence, meaning the multiple intelligences. So in my final project, I have the mediation of individuation, which outlines the different multiple intelligences Howard Gardner identified, such as verbal, linguistic, musical, rhythmic, mathematical, kinesthetic, and so on. This was really insightful to me because as a teacher, we get so bombarded with lesson plans and recreating and revising and reflecting that sometimes we forget to make our lesson plans truly differentiated for all types of learners. I am a visual learner, so I tend to think on the visual side when preparing lessons, but that's really not fair to my students because many of my students are not visual learners. I may have musical, I may have mathematical, I may have the kinesthetic learner who really needs that hands-on environment. So this document, and in this class, this Community of Learners class, it really forced me to think outside of my comfort zone and to create these activities within this unit that would apply to these different multiple intelligences. I now know how to truly differentiate my lesson plans to meet the needs of these different learners. And I will certainly look at this document as a reference tool in the future when planning lessons and thinking of these different intelligences. So that was really terrific, an opportunity to do that. The third competency and my final competency that I'll talk about in this presentation video is competency number 6, which is to evaluate student progress in learning, refine plans for instruction, and establish alternative goals or environments for learning when necessary. For this competency, I will be discussing 2 of the artifacts I included in my portfolio because I think these 2 are really in alignment with this competency, and I'm really proud of both of them, and I learned so much from both of these final artifacts. The first one was the opportunity in my current Issues of Literacy course, ED-RD 554, to explore some literary geniuses and really terrific people who researched literacy and have their own research-based ideas. And so the first one was my opportunity to research Louise Rosenblatt, and I did a PowerPoint presentation for her about her. She was a terrific lady who researched literacy and really believed that the meaning and the life of a piece of literature came from the reader, the individual reader. And whenever we read, we bring with us all of our background knowledge. And so Louise Rosenblatt truly believed that each piece of literature was sort of its own living entity. And whenever it was read, it became more alive with the discussions that students would have on that piece of literature. Now, the discussions weren't always in agreement. They would disagree on the meaning or the concept or some of the characters or whatever it may be, because readers bring with them their own background and their own past experiences. And because of that, they come up with their own meaning of that piece of literature. And she taught us to welcome those differences and to be prepared as teachers to accept those differences and to challenge our readers to accept those differences. She really opened our eyes as far as literacy and reading in general. So I really enjoyed Louise Rosenblatt, and I think she really does align with competency number 6. The second artifact that I'd like to talk about for competency number 6 was a document that I created in my Language and Culture in the Classroom course, which was ED CI 540. This was an interesting course because I was never forced to think of myself as a white person as a race, I guess. That I had some sort of a white prejudice, they call it. But it really opened my eyes to envisioning life outside of my comfort zone again. And by opening up my eyes to different cultures that may be present in my classroom, it made me aware that I was neglecting to incorporate those different cultures into my classroom. So in this document that I wrote, Multiculturalism in Society, it really opened up my eyes that it's possible to create this multicultural classroom simply by adding in new literature into your units, or putting some new posters up in your classroom, or even having a survey of your students at the beginning of the year to find out what traditions or holidays they embrace. Because all of our students come from different races and cultures and backgrounds. And it's nice to be aware of what's in your classroom so that you can show them that you appreciate them for who they are and that you embrace their different cultures, their different races, and their different traditions. So a quick survey at the beginning of the year to find out if they have certain holidays or traditions that they embrace. Then you too can put them on your calendar and you can celebrate those along with them. By doing that, you are showing the rest of the class that we welcome the differences that are amongst us, instead of looking down or making fun of people who are of different cultures or different races. This class really opened my eyes to the need, if you truly want a community of learners in your classroom, that you would take the opportunity and the time to get to know your students and their cultures and incorporate and embrace those with your students. It really opens up that classroom environment and that respect that's there. I really have enjoyed my time with Concordia. My classwork has been challenging. The online format really pushed us through every 5 weeks a new class, with a few breaks here and there. But professors were always helpful, courteous. My cohorts online were always polite and helpful and so appreciative of everything we did. And I really enjoyed my time online with my fellow teachers and my professors, and just getting to learn everything from APA format to multiculturalism to a community of learners and differentiating my lessons. And I hope that one day I can use all of these things back in the classroom again and really make a difference in my students' lives. Thank you.